My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon? No, good afternoon. Good morning and good evening. Good night. Oh, not quite good night, because good night is a bit of a confusing one, isn't it, in English, Eddie? Because good night means goodbye as well, doesn't it? And that would be a very strange way to begin the show. How are you doing, Eddie? All right?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, been trouble. I mean, well, a bit difficult to follow so much tennis going on, but I've been enjoying trying to do it.
Yeah. I've actually got a question right at the beginning for our audience, more than you, Eddie, which is I'm actually drinking a rather traditional post-lunch coffee right now. But anyone who's tuning in and wishes to get in the live chat and can guess, what did I have to drink with my lunch today? Do let us know in the live chat what you think I might have consumed, because I think it's a tricky one. It's not a common drink. So that's how we're going to begin today. Today, I guess, was thirsty work for some players, but other players probably didn't have to expend so much energy. Certainly, Felix Auger-Aliassime, his energy pretty much ran out mid-match as he had to retire. No, it wasn't beer. I knew that someone was going to guess that. A lot more difficult to predict. You're going to have to be a bit more left field than beer. But anyway, I'll come back to that later on. But obviously there were wins for Swiatek, Gauff, Andreeva and Mboko, but also for Novak Djokovic. So a lot of the favourites going through. But we're going to begin with, well, Eddie, you and I were chatting pre-show. Where would you qualify the Eala loss to Parks? As in, like, big shock, surprise, not a surprise? What are your feelings on her loss to Parks today?
Well, I mean, I think it was a surprise. I mean, I definitely, just because of her form coming into this. I mean, she had a great run, obviously in Auckland, getting to the semi-finals, and still lost that semi-finals, and she was very competitive though in that match. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, through that run as well, you know, she had a bagel on that run as well. Some really good performances. And then, you know, coming in as well, she won a match, I think it was against Vekic, wasn't it, in Kooyong? And she did well there. And then, yeah, so coming in, the vibes were good. And I think it was also just more shocking that she lost in the end based on how the match started, right? So,
exactly.
Yeah. So you obviously, I mean, before we even go into the match, though, there's a bit of controversy as well because of obviously huge numbers of fans obviously wanting to go see her match. I mean, she's got a huge dedicated following. The Filipino fans really want to see her. And then, but she was put on court 7, was it?
Court 6.
So court 6, sorry. Yeah, court 6. And yeah, which is obviously not ideal. You had many more fans having to wait outside and just watch on the big screens and you know, sit outside. And yeah, there was just huge lines and yeah, maybe not the best planning from the organizers. I know that they want to have, you know, because there's dozens of Aussie players, right? That have had wild cards that they've got in, so they want to prioritize them. But I mean, I think, yeah, they maybe could have put her on. And I think also as well, given that like Australian Open, you know, that it sort of advertises itself as like the slam of the Asia Pacific. And I read some article before about that in New York about how they're trying to, you know, get more attention and sponsors and stuff from that side of the world. And then, yeah, maybe they could have thought a bit better about that. But of course, anyway, the stadium was full of her fans, and it was just the noise they were making was pretty crazy. I mean, I think the first point of the match actually was a double fault from Parks, but even that, there was a big roar after she did that, and I thought, oh boy, we're going in for a ride now. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously she did really well. She started off really well. I mean, tremendously, and obviously returning really well, as we know that she can do. And I think some of the points, though, I think, maybe Parks was just not. She was a little bit rattled, I'd say, because of the crowd on her, being against her, basically. And then, there was a sort of few strange mistakes here and there. And then, but yeah, Alex was playing really well, and she deserved to take that first set 6-love. And I think basically, because having that huge crowd on your side, though, I think at some point, maybe she lost focus a bit, Alex, but then also that starts to probably create a lot of pressure, because suddenly she went down a break early at the start of the second set, and then she started serving like very poorly. I mean, I think Park started to work out patterns and was able to return better. And obviously, yeah, we know that Alex has some issues with her serve, and the serve percentage went right down in that second set, and just gave Parks the momentum to come forward, and she started playing better. She started serving better, and also Alex found it more difficult to get into those service games as well. So, and then obviously she's got the power. I just thought, like, before coming into this match, though, that it was not a bad matchup for Alex, because of the way that obviously she can return well, get a lot of balls back, and maybe Parks, although she has the power, doesn't have as much sort of mobility. If she keep testing her to get balls back, she's going to make some errors. But in the end, she held on very well. And yeah, I mean, there was a sort of a little bit of a fight back at the end from Alex, but it was a little bit too late. And in the end, it was Parks spoiling the party. And yeah, a bit of a disappointment, obviously, for all those fans, and a lot of expectation and attention on her. But yeah, that was. Even though she's not a seeded player, it was a bit of an upset. Because there wasn't too many. I wouldn't say too many big upsets today.
Yeah, I mean, Alycia Parks is pretty much 100 in the world. Eala, I think, is 49. She's just broken into the top 50, I think. And yeah, I think in terms of, I mean, the rankings don't lie, and I do think that's an accurate reflection of where the two players have been at over the last 12 months. The only thing is just to say that I did think Eala would win, and this is a small surprise of sorts. But Parks's ceiling, when she had 3 good, healthy months of playing on a preferred surface in particular, there's no reason why she doesn't have a sort of top 20 ceiling, which is probably where we're looking at Eala's ceiling kind of thing right now. The other thing with Eala, as well as seeing her over the last sort of 9 months, I guess, since the Miami breakout, I do feel that her game is extremely high risk, but so she is a kind of a grinder from the back of the court, but she actually wants to dominate the point from the first return. She knows that she's unlikely to get many aces and unreturned serves, but she's also playing on the front foot, if that doesn't contradict itself. But as a result, it often is a bit high risk. I mean, it often works, and it could even work for pretty much a whole tournament, especially when maybe she's not running into the absolute elite players. So, but you're going, wow, this is such an aggressive return position and such an aggressive return that it's surprising that it maintains such a consistent level. But obviously that maybe wasn't the case today. Regarding the crowd and the decision for court 6, honestly, it's just, I mean, we were saying before we went live, what were you saying about, obviously it's an Asia Pacific slam that you were highlighting, right? And obviously trying to, expand more in that market that tennis is. It batters belief. What's the expression? Beggars belief.
Beggars belief, yeah.
Why they put that on court 6, and just how little knowledge people have about tennis. I've even seen tweets today going, oh, I didn't realize Eala was this popular or this well known, or I was like, what have you been doing for the last 9 months? Because I didn't realize probably until that Miami run, but within days or weeks of that, I was covering her at a 125 tournament in Werash, and I was doing previews for her matches and commentaries and just little snippets and interviews as well. And it was like getting 5 or 10 times the traction of someone like Sabalenka or Swiatek.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, like the the number of views you get, and I mean they must know that though. The Australian Open, at least the people that run their social media, they must know that she's getting a lot of clicks and all that stuff. So,
but
yeah.
do they talk? Do they communicate? So let's say you work in social media. Do you tell your boss about this? Possibly not. Possibly because it's how authority can sometimes work, isn't it? You don't almost want to tread on anyone's toes. You don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to go above your station, but the other thing is regarding this as well is not just the sponsorship, but even just in terms of crowd comfort, you could get, because I don't know what matches exactly on at that time on the show, because I think Minaur was on maybe just before Eala started actually, so he was playing McDonald, and even though he's an Aussie, you know, but anyway, there would have been a bigger court for sure that she could have been put on, and I'm sure a lot of those bigger courts were not full. So it's just mind blowing to think you've got, you know, thousands of people that can't watch this match, and yet there's empty seats in bigger stadiums nearby. I mean, we're always watching matches at daytimes at slams, and I know there's been record numbers posted today. I know Craig Tiley's very happy about that, and I get that, but it could be even better. It could be an even better experience, because I think there's a lot of short-termism there. Like, look at how many numbers there are, but who knows? Maybe in a couple of years, people will be like, I'm not going back because it was too crowded, or this or that, or maybe there's some negative things. Just coming to the match itself, though, Eddie, and I do want to get your thoughts one more time before we move on. But before we do that, is and the crowd. I think that she probably was slightly negatively affected. I think Alycia Parks was perhaps at the beginning, but I think perhaps there were times in sets 2 and 3 when Eala was also maybe slightly negatively affected. And now you might just think that could happen because of pressure, but I also think there's a bit of the nature of fans. I think if you are on the ATP side and you've got, you know, you're in France and there's 10 or 15 or 20, or you don't have to be from France, by the way. I've seen Hungarians and Czechs just suddenly on an outside court at the French Open, and you can feed off that, especially if you're that type of player and that kind of dynamic works, you know, in Australia as well with the Aussies too. I just think that perhaps because the Filipinos are still pretty new to the sport, you know, their understanding of how things work, and in terms of, like, you know, maybe not cheering double faults or unforced errors, and also maybe even talking during the points, all of these sort of things that Eala will know that's kind of not how we do things, and she might have just felt a little bit uncomfortable. And
the umpire did actually say once to them, like, please don't call out during the point. So I think that happened once or twice, but yeah.
But if the fans are not, I think sometimes, of course, especially in Europe or North America, I think the fans know exactly what they're doing. But I think they just don't know. I think they just think that this is kind of how you do it. You just like in other sports, when you have misfortune for the team you're not supporting or whatever, you cheer it, right? Yeah. But so I think there was a few factors on there, and then finally, in terms of the performance of the two players, Alycia Parks did pick it up big style in sets 2 and 3, and I think she fully deserved the win. But also Eala 4 from 17 on break points. So the match was there. I was sure that she won the first set 6-love. Parks gets off the mark at the beginning of the second. Parks does go up a break. That didn't totally surprise me. Tennis can change very quickly, as we know. But once Eala got it back on serve at 3-2, I thought, that's it now. I thought Eala's going to win this, you know, 6-love, 6-3, 6-love, 7-5 or something like that. But it just didn't happen.
No, I know what you mean. Like, you just thought, okay, she's back, and you were thinking, okay, she can relax. But no, then she got broken, wasn't it? And then Parks served it out, right? Yeah. So
was she okay physically, by the way? I just wasn't sure if there was I don't think there was any physical issue, was there, for Alex?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, it's always going to be an issue, I guess, like occasionally, because obviously you've got a player here that's got a good serve, and so, you know, as good as returner as Alex is, like, you know, and it does help her a lot, because some, you know, her returning is tremendous, but it's going to have moments where, like this, is just, there's only so much you can do, and then I mean, she's going to have to obviously do something, I think, you know, working on a little bit and that consistency a little bit more in the serve, but obviously it's something we say all the time. But I mean, it's going to happen. Like, she's going to have streaks in her career, and then maybe, and then but it is what it is, and she's still in the doubles, and I guess she plays that tomorrow.
Yeah, she's got
probably
a
going to
Brazilian
be busy
partner for that, right? She's got a Brazilian partner for the doubles. I forget who she's
Yeah.
playing with.
Yeah, Brazilian partner. That's right. Martins. That's Martins. Yeah.
Yes, so that when I saw that she was playing doubles, I was thinking, well, John, maybe hold your horses on the confident prediction that she'll be playing the WTA 125 in Manila next week. I think somehow, unless she wins the doubles title, I think she'd probably find a way. Like if I don't know when the semi-finals or the quarterfinals of the doubles are, but maybe she could play on Tuesday or Wednesday, if you like, in Manila. They might be able to manage that and then get her over there. But obviously she would go for the doubles title and probably have to sacrifice Manila. But I wonder if, in terms of her scheduling, just finally from my side on this, I saw a very interesting tweet, and it's subjective, but someone was saying on social media, and apologies, I don't remember who it was, but saying, I thought that, and I was saying it, and I'm banging the drum again, and apologies, I'm repeating, but this individual thought that Eala should have played either Hobart or Adelaide. And I just wonder if her decision not to play one of those two tournaments was knowing that she might have to play back to back weeks of tennis, bearing in mind, let's say she had a run to the second or third round, which is actually what I expected for Eala this week. And potentially even maybe the fourth round, but something in that sort of second to fourth round area. Then she goes and plays them in Manila. That would be 2 pretty intensive weeks in 2, different parts of the world. And then throw in the week before when she was playing in New Zealand. So then it would be 4 very intensive weeks in 4, different locations. So maybe that played a part as well.
Yeah, I never thought about that, but maybe, she's thinking about that. Obviously, it was a big build up to it and everything, so it's big news there. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, like if we talk about like the pressure of all the fans, coming out for her. I mean, if she does play that tournament, it's only a 125, and then
it'll be nuts. It'll
be crazy, right? But then, she's just inside the top 50 now. Sort of should be thinking about not really playing 125s, but in
her home country, I think that might be an exception.
Oh yeah, sure, but I mean, it's going to be a lot. I think it's a lot of pressure to go in there, and they're probably expecting her to go far and win it. But like, if she was to lose early, it doesn't. It's not going to make her feel good, right? You know what I mean? So it's a lot of pressure, I think. That's what I think.
It is. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how she handles that. But maybe just, and this is again, and of course I'm just speculating here, but maybe as well as the match was slipping away from her today, there might have been a part of her that just thought, oh well, I've got my Manila and I know where I'm going in a way. Okay, she's got the doubles, but maybe it just clears her diary and even her head a little bit ahead of that tournament next week. Anyway. Brilliant. Thanks very much. Let's move on. Let's stay on the women's side and let's move on to Iga Swiatek. I had a little bit of a scare. I actually predicted her to lose a set today. And in a way, I feel justified with that. I know she didn't lose a set, but what does that mean? I always remember our dear late friend Damien always said, like, you're predicting someone to lose a set based on percentages. And I thought, yeah, exactly. I expect Juan to push Iga is what I basically mean by that. And I think she did push her, right?
Yeah. I was sort of dipping in and out of that match. And, obviously we had some predictions as, maybe that, Iga was going to struggle in the first rounds. I actually think
that was Daniel Collins, right?
Yeah, well, but I thought, actually, no, I think she's going to do okay in this and maybe even go really far in this Australian Open. But because I just think sometimes you can read too much into, the lead up. But I think obviously Juan's come in qualified well, and she's just come in without much pressure and really gone for it. I mean, she's got quite a powerful baseline game. That's how she plays, But and I've seen her, play, pretty big game before. But the way she started off was extremely aggressive, and I was quite impressed by how Juan was actually coming out and playing like that. And obviously she went up an early break. And I think, maybe what Swiatek was a little bit rattled, but I think she starts a bit nervously a lot of the time anyway. So it just took her a bit of time to adjust to that. And I was just impressed, though, because Juan was really going for it. If you watch the Australian Open highlights, you don't really get a good... they just show, like, Iga's points that she won. But, like, it was pretty entertaining stuff in that first set, especially. Because what Juan, especially in the forehand, was hitting it really big, like forehand cross. Yeah, it was really entertaining stuff. And, I wasn't really sure whether Juan had that in her, to be honest, but like, she showed that she can do that, and ended up being a really tight, that mini break in the tie break that got it done for Swiatek, I think it's probably going to feel good for her to get through a match like that, because it was competitive, but she still came through and did what she had to do. I mean, maybe it's not the best performance from Iga, but I think going forward, you just, it's always a bit nervy when you're coming into a tournament. Get that first win. She's got it done in straight sets, and maybe she can build on that from here. But I think overall, I mean, she's got to be pretty pleased, I think, with that win, because it was a bit of a scare.
Yeah, I think it was a tricky first round. A big server, or someone who's capable of big serves, I think, on her preferred surface as well in Yuan. And that's one of the reasons why I thought that she might have a scare of some sort. But I didn't think, unlike Daniel Collins, that Iga's was the most vulnerable player in the upper echelons of tennis. I actually picked out Alexandrova and Emma Navarro quite smugly. Because both of them have... Now, I know Daniel Collins' question was framed in terms of the top 10, and both Alexandrova and Navarro are just outside the top 10. But I think if you just said to the interviewer, you said, look, I actually think all the top 10 are going to be okay for the first couple of rounds, but Alexandrova and Alexandrova and Navarro, I've got them up on upset alert. I also had Towson on upset alert. There you go. I wasn't going to mention that, but I had Towson. Towson won today, by the way. But Navarro and Alexandrova gone. I think you more than addressed that question with plenty of meat on the bones. So So you kind of know some results there. I've just dropped a few little hints for, more than hints. But Coco Gauff as well, going through in straight sets. I wonder where we are with Coco right now, Eddie. Are we on the positive side or negative, or somewhere in the middle? I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. As in, like, US Open was obviously a disappointing spell for her, and probably really post French Open, there might not have been a huge amount to shout about. But then if you win one Grand Slam a year, you're having a fantastic, unbelievable career. And I think she probably gets to another Slam final this year somewhere, because she's capable on two of the three surfaces that we play on. And those two surfaces are basically 90% of the calendar year. So, and she won in straight sets today. So no complaints there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we can tell too much from today's performance. I don't think Rakimova was really much of a test, and still like a few... still quite a few double faults, right? She's thrown in there 7 today, but I heard your man McMillan giving advice from the side of the court. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. I mean, it was a good enough performance, and I think you talked about Navarro obviously losing. That wasn't that surprising to me. No. You said you predicted that, but against Lynette, it's not an easy first round, and then. Yeah, I mean, that probably helps Gauff, I guess, going through. I mean, she can probably get through at least to the 4th round. I mean, she might have to face Mukova, but... could
be interesting. I think she's got a good record against Mukova, though. From
but I think, it's not too tough a section, so she should be able to at least get through to quarters and then see what happens. But, potentially it could be Andreeva in the quarters, right? So she also got through from a set down against Donovekic.
That was certainly one of the more intriguing matches today, wasn't it?
But I was obviously coming through strong in the end. I think it was a short turnaround though, because she was coming from winning the title in Adelaide, right?
You never know with that, don't you? When someone wins a title and has to play all the way until the Saturday. And then they're playing on the Monday, as it turned out, as opposed to the Tuesday. So, yeah, quick turnaround. And sometimes that can be the undoing of players. But, well, probably it was her undoing, perhaps, in the first set. But in the end, she ran out.
Maybe a little bit of tiredness. But, yeah, coming through in the end. But she's got kind of a tough second round against Sakkari. So...
You think that's a tough second round?
Well, I don't know. She's been doing okay, Sakkari. Well, she started okay this year.
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes. But yeah, we'll see. Because obviously she's played a lot of tennis. You don't know if tiredness is going to continue as well. So yeah, but we'll see. Yeah, I still think she should be thinking about going far here as well. So she's got the opportunity to do that, and yeah. Let's see how that goes. I think what else happened today? We had
just quickly. I just want to quickly dwell for a moment on Mirra Andreeva, and also, by the way, the upcoming match with Sakkari. But yeah, Mirra losing that first set. I think that you highlight the Adelaide run being very relevant. Also, Vekic, she can fade in matches when the going gets tough, and Mirra is going to make it tougher for you than almost anyone else on the planet. And yeah, 6-love in the third set. Obviously is a bit of a disappointing way for Vekic to go out. Vekic, did she have a run in Australia? I think she might have had a decent run. Did she have a run and then lose to Sabalenka maybe in the quarters? I'm going to say about 2 or 3 years ago. So it is somewhere that it was either the fourth round or the quarters. And I think she had chances in this match with Sabalenka, by the way. But anyway, but just quickly on Sakkari and Andreeva before we do move on. They've never played before, which may be a little surprise, but it may be also because of where basically Sakkari has been soaring for the last 2-3 years. And unfortunately for Sakkari, she's been plummeting. I do think she's arrested the slide a bit. And I think we might end up just settling for a Maria Sakkari who sort of bounces around between 30 and 70 in the rankings. Unfortunately, I think in terms of her peak results, I think they've probably come and gone. But yeah, I do think Andreeva wins this one in straights.
Yeah, she should still get through. I think, yeah, I think like maybe first test comes in the fourth round for her, but potentially Svitolina.
Okay.
But it's Svitolina or Schneider. But yeah, like, yeah, I think, she should be looking to go far here. I think
someone has her in their final. I think it might be Carson has Andreeva in the final against Anisimova. So
okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously Anisimova, yeah, a lot of people expecting her to do well.
Shall we talk quickly Anisimova and just how everyone is purring about her level in so many ways? Obviously, she came through in straight sets today.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually get to see any of that match.
No,
I kind of just it wasn't. We weren't expecting her to struggle with that matchup, but yeah, I mean, I obviously think she's also got a great section in terms of no tests early on, really. Well, I mean, the seed that she was going to face first was Ken, and she lost to Peyton Stearns, which is not too surprising. And then yeah, I mean, I think. Yeah, we'll see how she does. I think got Noskova in her section, but I mean, I think she shouldn't be too worried, I think, with what's in front of her. So yeah, it's just a question of can she actually deliver this time? But I mean, based on the last few tournaments, I think she's definitely in a great position to do that. And yeah, I just I mean, a big test. I think it's going to come really first for her in the fourth round, maybe. But yeah, let's see. I mean, I don't know. Do you expect that she's going to go far?
I don't know, because it's not been brilliant, has it, since Indian Wells? Again, for the average top 50, top 20 even player, you'd say it's still been pretty steady. But given where she was at in her trajectory post Indian Wells, to then not make the WTA finals, being pipped at the post by Rybakina, given how phenomenal that start of the season was. And it's also a sign of just how crazily competitive after Sabalenka between 2 and I think 20 or maybe even 30 in the world, just how competitive that bunch of players are, that they can all beat each other on any given day and they can all definitely get to 1,000 finals and lift the title. So actually, I'm just a little bit cautious on Anisimova. I even wouldn't be surprised. On Andreeva. I'm still talking about Andreeva. And you asked me about Anisimova. I do apologize. But anyway, I've got my Andreeva thoughts out of my head. Sorry, Anisimova, who, by the way, Carson has winning the title. Am I big on her? Yeah, I am. I think there's a 50. I wouldn't rubber stamp it as confidently as Carson was. So Carson was asked by Fergus, do you have Anisimova winning a slam in 2026? He said yes. And then he said, which one? And he's like, Australia. So it's like right now. And yeah, I'm 50-50 on her winning a slam this year, which will be a remarkable recovery given the bruising defeat that she had in the Wimbledon final. I had her making a top 10 breakthrough in 2025, which at the time, Gil Gross called it a bold call. And a lot of people, nobody was really disappointed or frustrated with it. They were like, oh, big call that, having Anisimova. Well, actually, I'd underestimated because she made a top 5 breakthrough. And I think she's okay mentally. I was worried about her going into that Wimbledon final. And as that turned out, I think it was a factor behind that loss that she had, especially the manner of it. But I feel good about it. And after that, she showed lots of mental strength in getting to the US Open final, including beating Iga on the way. And that filled me with enough confidence. Then seeing her level at the WTA finals, she's there or thereabouts with, especially on a hard and I think also on grass, she's there or thereabouts with Sabalenka, with Iga. So yeah, she's in that absolute elite tier, I think, and probably ahead of Coco Gauff in the pecking order. Is she? I haven't picked her to win the title. I've gone for Sabalenka, but it would not surprise me at all. What are you thinking regarding Amanda?
Well, I think she's got a great opportunity, at least, to make probably the semis, right? But it's a question like who she faces in the semis, because it could be Rybakina, it could be Swiatek, and if they have got that far, I do think
Swiatek, she might win that one though. If it's Swiatek, I think she might win it.
Yeah, maybe, but I think people are maybe slightly underrating Swiatek here a bit.
Yeah, maybe
because I think
who's your pick for the title then? Is it Iga?
Yeah, because I was put on the spot the other day and I picked Iga, so I was a bit worried about today's result. But no, but I mean, I think my thinking behind it was, okay, yes, Anisimova is going to be a test there, but I wasn't too sure about Rybakina or like say Osaka's intersection as well. I've just got a feeling that they might disappoint, and yeah, and then it sort of opens the way for her a little bit. And that's kind of, I feel like that would be very eager to sort of take advantage of that. And then you never know what's going to happen, right? But yeah, I think that's just based on the draw. I was sort of analyzing that. And yeah, it's going to be obviously, I think Osaka plays tomorrow, but I just don't really know what's going to be, how she's going to play, how she's going to come out and play. I expect her to win that, but like, with Osaka...
It's tough with Naomi, isn't it? I think she could go out early, like first or second round, or make the semis, and neither of those would necessarily surprise me without knowing her draw specifically.
Yeah, she could play Kirsty or even Lise in the second round. So, I mean, Lise is
that's tough. That's tough, but she's capable.
Yeah, but no, it's weird because we just. Even though she had like a couple of good tournaments last year, that was very good, and obviously they won the semi-final run in the US Open. Like we've not had a sustained period long enough to think, wow, she's going to be able to back that up again in this tournament. But yeah, sort of the same thinking I think a bit with Rybakina, but her draw's not too bad. But yeah. We were trying to talk about I feel like we've gone off track here, but
yeah, it did happen. Don't worry, but I can bring us back onto track unless you've got anything else to add on Anisimova. Anyway, I've got Tomljanovic and Pegula winning today. Pegula in straight sets over Zakharova. Really nice to see a win, albeit another Ukrainian losing in the form of Stara Dubtseva. I think there was a couple of Ukrainians that fell yesterday. Not Svitolina, of course, but there was a couple of those Kostic were certainly among them. But Tomljanovic is someone who, again, ceiling is top 20. She really pushed Coco mega hard in New York last year in what was a really exciting, fun match. And yeah, when she brings it, she's an extremely exciting player to watch. Who could forget Serena Williams' last match as well in 2022? And that period, 2022, 2023, when she had a sort of a healthy period, looked good for her. But then I also remember that failed Netflix series. One of the things I do remember about it is I think the first episode where Tomljanovic, I think, breaks down on the eve of the Australian Open and just how gutted she was that her body had let her down once again. And that's really been the issue for her from not actually even going beyond the top 20 in terms of high. But so really good to see her get a win, especially in Australia, obviously her home country, over Stara. It was a close one. She lost the first set 4-6, but 2.5 hours. So she's being put through the mill in that respect. And she goes on now as well. So a good win for her. Pegula is through as well. Feel free to interrupt me if you want to just say anything on either of those two before we move on.
On Pegula.
And you can say anything on either of those two.
Well, yeah, Pegula got through. If you'd expect her to get through, she plays McCartney Kessler next. Ooh. Yeah, I don't know if that's ideal. I mean, again,
what's Pegula Kessler like in terms of head-to-head? I'm gonna have a quick look.
Oh, you did to tell me because I don't.
Yeah,
know
well,
exactly.
It's 1-0 for Pegula.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't obviously the Americans are going to know each other fairly well. I mean, I don't. It's not all that always that easy when you have to face someone you know well. But I think he obviously started well. I think again she could be maybe going flying under the radar a little bit in terms of she could have a run here. Because I don't know.
I think Kessler's a tough one.
Yeah. So it's not ideal for a second round, but
currently ranked 37, so she's just short of her best of 30. They've only played once. That was last year in Austin on hard, and it was a straight sets win for Pegula. But I'm not quite sure where we're at Pegula. I remember being a bit negative and pessimistic about Navarro. I'm not quite as pessimistic about Pegula, but I do really see her not really exceeding what she's done in the past, because she'd have to get a slam to really exceed that. And I think we're probably going to have another year of deep runs at slams and maybe a couple of titles. I don't quite see her making that final step.
And of course, it's the other seed in her section. One of the others is Madison Keys, and of course she has got a bit of pressure to back up last year, right? So I'm just wonder how but I think maybe her start is not too difficult, right? But she's going to play tomorrow, right, Keys? So
that might be a small benefit in terms of, I don't know how the draw will pan out, but in terms of Keys obviously playing at probably 2 days in a row potentially.
Another Ukrainian, so
okay, all right.
I struggle to pronounce the name.
Okay,
but I guess you should be able to get through that one, but it is never easy. I think you always want to just get through that first one and then maybe you can relax a little bit. But yes, obviously pressure for her to do well here. Sorry, who else was you wanted me to talk about? You wanted to talk about?
Just quickly, one more thing. I was just wondering how Kessler did in her first round. Who did she come past?
Arango.
Arango, which was today, 6-3, 6-2. So comfortable win for her. I can see her taking a set off Jessica, but I will pick Pegula to win that one. Okay, yeah, let's move on and race through these last few results on the women's side, because I obviously we've got to get through the men as well.
Sure.
What have we got? We've got Storm Hunter beating Buzas Monero straight sets. Schneider coming from losing the first set 6-2 to Barbora Krejcikova, but she came from behind to win in 3 sets. By the way, that is a super competitive match. Schneider seeded 23, Barbora Krejcikova, a 2-time Grand Slam winner and capable pretty much on all the surfaces. And although she's not won a slam on a hard court, she's extremely capable and can be a fly in many players' ointment. But Schneider really could win. I mean, that has a sort of 4th round or quarterfinal feel to it rather than a first round. But that's where Barbora's at. She's obviously had an injury hit career, and the last couple of years no different. But yeah, Schneider winning that one.
Yeah, and Mboko through against Emerson
Mboko
Jones.
is through straight sets over Jones. I think on Mboko, I think she had that sort of a post Canada 1000 dip. You know, she wins the title there, and I'm real wondering about big things for her in New York. She then runs into Barbora Krejcikova in the first round and goes out, but she was also struggling physically. But I felt as though she then had a little uptick as well in November towards the end of the year. Remember that epic win she had over Alex Eala, and I think she's back on track now in a way. That little blip that she had post Canada last year, and she's obviously won today, and she had a good run to the final in Adelaide, and yeah, I can see her winning a few matches and maybe making the second week in Australia.
Yeah. Just forget she's still so young. So like, I mean,
so young.
She's going to have little blips at the moment, still 19, but yeah, she's good start. So we'll see how she does. I mean, she plays Katie McNally next, so it's kind of, she's quite, she's been quite good. So, I mean, obviously lower ranked, but it would be a good test, but maybe. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, we'll see how that goes, but probably Mboko should be able to win, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I think so. All right, just going to round off these results, and then we will move on. So also on the women's side, we had a win for Lee in 3 sets over Osorio. Badosa winning in straight sets. That one had slipped me by. That's a good win for her. The number 25 seed. She obviously has extremely high ceiling. A former semi-finalist in here in Australia, while she beat Diaz 6-2, 6-4. Mertens coming through in straight sets as well, 7-5, 6-1 over Tararude. Am I saying that right? Tararudia?
Tararudia, yeah. Yeah, I watched some of that. The first set was pretty good, actually. That's her making her slam debut. She qualified. And she, did really well in qualies, but obviously not got much experience against this level of player. But the first set was good. So, yeah, not a bad performance.
Stearns straight sets win over former AO winner Sofia Kenin. We already sort of touched on that one. And Hon beating Stakusic, or I say beating, went right to the wire, and it was 5-3 to Hon in that deciding set, when unfortunately Stakusic had to retire hurt. So, yeah. All right, just one more thing on the women before we do switch. I was just having a quick glance at the action for Wednesday, I think it is, I'm looking at, and I thought I'm going to pick out one match featuring an Asian player so we can lean on you, Mr. Tennis Asia, Eddie. And for
Wednesday or not tomorrow?
No, Wednesday. I'm going for Wednesday. So 2 days from now, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So including obviously one. Well, actually, yeah. So it's 2 days from now, but I think I'm going to go with Sabalenka against Juan Bai. So of course, what I would like from you is maybe some information on Juan Bai, if you can give it to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, so yeah, she had a really dramatic first round win against Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, and I wasn't. Yeah, it was definitely an underdog in that, and she won a final set tiebreak, 12-10 in the tiebreak.
Yeah.
So obviously huge for her. She is a player though that has, I mean, obviously her ranking.
702. Is that right?
Yeah, but yeah. So basically, she has been up at 83 in the world, but then she got injured, so she got into the qualies with a protected ranking. So she's had like trouble with injuries. So the ranking doesn't really reflect her level, I guess. But yeah, obviously coming through qualies and doing well here. I mean, I still think that, you know, she's not going to be able to get past Sabalenka. I mean, that really would be a shock. But yeah, I mean, I think she's quite a tough competitor in terms of not bad. Like, I mean, overall with her game and strokes on both sides. But like, I think that, you know, Sabalenka is still going to have too much power for her. But, you know, it's, you know, she might make it competitive for a set or so. And then because, yeah, she's just nothing to lose here, really. She's already sort of exceeded expectations, I guess. I mean, I think that was only, yeah, so she'd won one slam match before. This is the second slam match she's won. Obviously had time out, pretty sure, quite a while through injury. That's why her ranking went so low, right? So, but yeah, yeah, it should be interesting to see if she's able to like make it competitive. I think, you know, for a set, I think, because, you know, I think that's definitely, but, you know, she's still quite young. She's only 23, so
yeah,
yeah, she'll be open to stay fit, and then she didn't play any of the slams last year, so yeah, it's been quite a while.
And Sabalenka, of course, she came through in straight. She got really pushed quite hard in the first set before she broke. It was a French woman, wasn't it? Her serve. It's a really difficult pronunciation as well from memory. Her opponent, it was the one with the double barrel surname, I think. Yeah, exactly. Rakatomonga Rajanoa. But once she broke at 4-5 in that first set, she didn't really look back from there, winning 6 of the 7 games in the second set. And yeah, I think she's purring, and I think she should come through comfortably and into the third round. Okay, men's side. Djokovic winning in straight sets over Pedro Martinez. No surprises there. One thing I will say about Novak, which I think is the principal reason for me that Novak is still beyond competitive, you know, challenging for titles and going deep at slams. And the principal reason for that, and it showed up in the stats today as well, his serve. His service has been good for 5 or 10 years, I would say. It was an additional string to his bow that probably helped propel him to the 24 slams from the, say, 15 slam point that he was at. Goran, I think, probably takes a lot of credit there as well. Goran Ivanisevic, his coach for a few years. But today, again, getting first serves in 77%, winning 93% of his first serves, and 85% on his second. You might talk about Pedro Martinez's inability to return, especially on a hard court, and I think that's a valid point. But yeah, Novak's serving and spot serving in particular, because it's still nowhere near the biggest serve on the tour, I think it's even better probably now than it was even 2 or 3 years ago when he was much closer to a peak, let's say. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, from what little I saw, it was still, I mean, I know you say the opponent isn't great. I mean, not a great test for him, but I mean, he was still
on the return, especially.
Yeah, I mean, he was still exceptionally good than Djokovic, and it's still amazing to see how he can play at this level at 38 and just very efficient. Like you said, so good with his serve, but just, you know, just a masterclass, really. To get through 6-3, 6-2, 6-2. So, yeah, I mean, great start for him. And I don't think he has the, you know, his draw at the beginning is pretty good. So, like,
it's all right. He's got the Italian Francesco Maestri, who came through a 5-setter today with Terence at Mane. So yeah, it's a nice first couple of rounds for Novak, because I do think if he got a Medvedev, for example, though maybe Medvedev might get overawed in terms of the hero sort of scenario there, but if he got a maybe a Marozsan or probably not now Fonseca, but I'm just trying to think of somebody who's just outside the sort of top 30 who could be a big problem. Yeah, so, or maybe just a young gun who's just flying through qualifying. I think these are the kind of people in the early rounds who might still be out of trouble, Novak, but the first 2 rounds, and I think Eala will be the same. He obviously had this epic encounter with that Manny, although he actually won the final 2 sets pretty comfortably, 6-1, 6-1 today against the Frenchman. But yeah, I can't see anything other than a Novak win there and safely into round 3.
Yeah, so just great start, and don't think any Djokovic fans are going to be upset about that. It's going to be so. But I mean, another player in his little section there is Jerry Shang, and he won today. A good win against Bautista Agut. Finishing off with a bagel. I didn't see the whole match, but I saw that when he lost the second set, I thought, it could be a long one, could be a 5-setter, but it seems like he stepped up, and obviously Bautista Agut's he's older now, right? So he's
bless him, his best days are behind him. I think it's unfair to say that.
Yeah, but good from Shang's point of view to get through, just in the 4 sets, and I think he'll play Botic van de Zandschulp. So one of those,
by the way. I mean, that's a bruising loss for Nakashima, right? I think at first round of a slam, 3.5 hours for the 4 sets. So it was a lengthy one for considering it was 4 sets. But I mean, where Botic is at now, again, better days, I think, are behind him. I think the chance to win a title has slipped Botic by, but good win for him today. But that's a bad loss, I think, for Nakashima.
I think, Djokovic. I don't think Shang or Van de Zandschulp going to really be. I mean, Shang would be.
That would
nice
be
for
Djokovic's 3rd round. Oh wow, that's a nice first week for Novak.
Yeah,
get out. You can get the cigars out. Okay. Other results from today. Let's go back up to the top. De Minaur winning in straight sets over McDonald. This was a match I saw a few games from. Alex De Minaur, probably not surprising, bearing in mind De Minaur was supposed to play Berrettini, wasn't it? I think that's a bit of a. If Berrettini had been 100% fit and firing, I think that could have been a real popcorn clash. And then obviously he ends up getting McDonald, a lucky loser, who's obviously done well in Australia in the past. But I felt very good for De Minaur's chances there, and he won in straight sets 2, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I mean, didn't expect him to get any trouble from that, really. Just the way that he's playing now, he needs someone much better than that to really trouble him. He's just, and I guess he doesn't really throw in like losses to players at that level these days, right? He gets through those, and kind of expect him to. Well, it's not. I wouldn't say he's got an easy run, because potentially he could face it's Medvedev he plays next, but then also. Got Bublik in his section further on, so Bublik, by the way, he won.
He
yesterday,
won straight sets a couple of days. Yesterday. Really nice win for him, actually, because I think it was a tough first round to have against Brooksby. But Mickelson, I just see a bit of chat from him, and he's playing Khachanov tomorrow. So I'm not sure if I'm quite as big as BG. That'll be Brad Gilbert. That might be. You never know with these guys that are either working in the media or working as a potential coach. They might say certain things that might be like, I wouldn't mind coaching that player, so I'm going to say something nice about them. There's a guy who used to be a coach for Serena Williams, and I'm talking about 15 years ago or so, and he's kind of pretty much fallen off the radar. I think he's got, maybe I don't want to say it too badly, but I think he's got very, very keen for some like media exposure, so much so that he's even randomly emailed me a couple of times asking if he can come on, and I just didn't think it was a good fit at the time, and I wish I could remember who's. Anyway, he's always saying things about players, and I just think every time he's always positive, by the way, but I always think it's like, I wonder if he thinks he's got a chance at coaching these players one day, and I just wonder if that's in Brad Gilbert's thoughts of Mickelson, because I don't see a major in Mickelson. I haven't seen anything yet. That's, of course, not to say that Brad Gilbert doesn't know a million times more things about, major winning potential, but that could also just be maybe some American bias, or he just likes him as a guy. And I like Alex, by the way, as a guy. I find him very entertaining. And I just don't quite see this I mean, there's only 2 majors a year he's going to be a potential at anyway, which is the hard court ones. Maybe there's a grass court, but certainly not on clay. So, yeah, I don't see that myself.
I don't agree with that assessment, but
no, I like him, and I can see him winning titles, especially with an American crowd behind him, and all the rest of it. Of course, he did win a challenger on clay last year in Estoril. I'm sure there's a few people screaming at their screens and podcasts right now, but anyway, Medvedev winning in 4 sets over Navone. Of course, Medvedev had a huge fan in the form of Damian Kuss, so nice to see the Serb coming through there in 4 sets over the Argentinian. Cilic, by the way, what do we think about this scoreline today against Daniel Altmaier? 6-love, 7-6. I think I saw a tweet from Bastian on Twitter, which was words to this effect, that the record of not having a triple bagel is still intact. This is when Altmaier wins a game at the beginning of the 3rd set. That record goes back to the French Open 1993, the last time we had a triple bagel, which is kind of fascinating. But yeah, Cilic, how about that?
Well, it's just a great day for the old guys. Yeah, obviously Djokovic and now Cilic.
Yeah, and Wawrinka.
And Wawrinka, right? But I mean, 6-love. I didn't see the match, so I don't know what exactly was going on there. But
it's a bizarre scoreline, because if there was an issue on the other side of the net, you'd have thought it would have been very apparent in the 3rd set. But Altmaier seemed to, and Altmaier's pretty decent. I mean, on this surface as well. I mean, I do think maybe there's 1 or 2, like maybe the clay might be a little bit better than when he's got a bit more time on the backhand side. But I probably would have seen that as going 4 or 5 before it got underway, but there we go. By the way, those of you wondering, the last triple bagel, 1993 French Open, as I highlighted, it was Sergi Bruguera beating Thierry Champion, or probably Champion, en route to winning the French Open that year. Bruguera, who beat Jim Courier, I think, in the final. In 1993, yeah, well, Thierry Champion, or however you want to pronounce it, was certainly anything but a champion that day. And same can probably be said for poor old Daniel Altmaier today. But what a win that is for the old guys. Yeah. What about Wawrinka winning? Did that take you by surprise, Wawrinka winning, by the way?
A little bit.
A little bit.
But I'm actually just, kind of in awe a little bit that he's so able to.
Eddie Moore.
Huh?
Eddie Moore.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a good win. I mean, coming through in 4 as well. I mean, from the set down, it's great for him. And then I don't know who he plays next, but I mean, yeah, I'm sure probably fancy his chances. I don't know.
I tell you what, he's got a nice-ish draw. He's going to be playing, I think, the guy who pulled off the biggest upset of the day, which was Artur Gaya beating Lehecka in straight sets. I'm surprised as much as anything because of where I value and rate Lehecka. In fact, it was a bad day for Steve Flink and myself and our top 10 predictions for next year, because I had Felix Auger-Aliassime maintaining his top 5, top 6 level, if you like, for next year. And he went out in after retirement, of course, to Nuno Borges today, and he had Lehecka as being his breakthrough. I think he had him at number 8 in his top 10. Yeah, a couple of losses there that will be bruising for Felix. And
Lehecka's not been too good recently. I mean, he's also someone I thought, like, not necessarily this year, but could have top 10 potential. But it's
injury prone though, isn't he? That's the sort of, for me, the issue with Lehecka.
Right. Yeah. So it's tough out there. I mean, but he comes up again like first round. I mean, it was a qualifier, but someone who's obviously in a lot of form, because I think he just won a challenger, Artur Gaya, just before coming in, and so he's obviously just. I didn't see the match, but he's carrying a lot of confidence, and sometimes a player will just peak, as for one match, and that's where he is just now. But Artur, I haven't seen him too much like Artur Gaya, but he's quite young, right? So another Frenchman coming through. So
who's winning that one? Are you going to go for? I think it's almost impossible. I'm going to go for Gaya, but
yeah, that's interesting.
Only because of the form in terms of Gaya, because I also think, I know it was only 4 sets for Wawrinka today, but it is 4 sets, and I know he's pulling up trees and doing amazing things for his age, but I think I think him having a win is just amazing, for Wawrinka. But I think because of where Gaya's at, you mentioned the challenger he won, but also the nature of his win today and the person he beat on the other side of the net. As I say, I think Lehecka does have top 10 potential. I am probably just going to go for the Frenchman.
Yeah, I guess it really is youth against experience, but I mean, yeah, probably just like I'd probably give the edge to just based on momentum for Gaya, but I mean, he's also inexperienced. If he might have to, if it goes long a bit, maybe the experience of Wawrinka will help him. I don't know how. Let's see how he holds up physically though. But yeah, interesting one. Definitely,
yeah. All right, back to some of these scores from today. We had a win for Jordan Thompson over one of the Sorundolo brothers, but it's Juan Manuel Sorundolo, because Jordan Thompson in front of his home crowd. We mentioned Gaya as well winning. I'm just going to tidy up these ones. Arnaldi went down in 3 sets to Rublev. Tricky first round for Rublev, but he did well to come through that one in straights, 4-2 and 3. Artur Muller winning in 5 sets over Poprin, and then it went to the 5th set tiebreak, 10-4.
Alexandra Muller. You said Artur.
Yeah. Did I? Sorry, Alexandra Muller, yes. And I know I've seen Alexandra play live in Rio last year, so I saw him beat Fonseca, so I shouldn't forget him in any way, shape, or form. But that's a good win for the Frenchman. I mean, just given how tight that would have been on John Cain Arena, I bet the crowd were pretty raucous in their favoritism.
And apparently it was the first 5-set match that Muller's won. So he had I think he'd lost a few, and so that's
a hell of a thing to get over, especially away from home, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for him. I mean, I quite like his style, like very aggressive style that he plays. I mean,
yeah, wonderful backhand.
Why is that? Is that correct, by the way? The Poprin hit 40 aces.
Wow, I didn't know that. I will just back that. I will just check. But so who's that in the chat saying that? Because I can't see right now.
I just saw a stat there, but
I just saw a stat
from the Google.
According to the Australian Open website, Poprin hits 40 aces and 0 double faults. I mean, blimey! I know that aces and double faults was not a stat we sort of dwell on too much as aficionados of the game. But that is a wonderful ratio. And just unfortunately, the stat that matters most is the fact that he lost in 5 sets. And Muller's, by the way, stats, probably this almost tells you why they're so unimportant. Alexander Poprin hits 40 aces. Muller hits 5. Poprin hits 0 double faults. And Muller hits 4. So he's getting crushed in the most phenomenal ways in both of those 2 metrics. And yet the person who's feeling crushed right now will obviously be Alexander Poprin.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I mean, good for Muller to get through. I think he'll go and play. It's Zverev next, who I was looking up. He actually did beat last time we played, but that was on clay in Hamburg. Obviously, 5 sets is different. At least he has now a 5-set win now. But yeah, I'm not too sure that it's going to be a great matchup for him against Zverev, though.
I think Zverev will come through, but you're right. I think it's a tricky one. I think if this was on clay, and by the way, Zverev is unbelievably capable on clay, but I think it just pushes Muller up a little bit. Probably on clay over 3 sets, I would say this is a banana skin, and maybe even more than that. And if the circumstances are right, I would even maybe go for a Muller win. I just think Grand Slam, outside of Wimbledon, Zverev has been pretty reliable over the last 3 or 4 years, except when, of course, he was injured at the Slams, which was something that he was anything but reliable pre-2022. But yeah, they had a couple of other meetings. They played in Munich last year as well, which is obviously on clay that Zverev won. But they also played at the US Open hard court. It was a 3-set win for Zverev, 4-6-1. I can see Zverev dropping a set, because I think Zverev at the moment is in a funny place in terms of his confidence, especially on the forehand side. But I think he'll come through.
Yeah. Australia, He's done well, and I just think, yeah, over 5, he should be able to get the job done. Yeah, maybe it'll be 4 sets, but yeah, but I don't really think he's going to be tested too much. But yeah, and what else?
That's it, really. I mean, so we've got Borges. We sort of touched on that a couple of times throughout the show. Felix retiring with cramps. I saw Gil Gross positing that that Felix's issue today just had to be nerves. I understood his thinking. I don't know if that's exactly what it was, and we may never know. But I understood Gil's explanation, which was basically, look, it's not going to be a physical problem, bearing in mind how fit he is. It's not going to be a unprofessional reason, as in terms of the fact he didn't rehydrate properly the night before and that kind of thing, because these are just not characteristics that Felix has ever demonstrated. But I also find the nerve thing difficult to understand, because I get it, big semi-final of a slam or a breakthrough result somewhere, but yeah, I don't know. Winning the first set as well.
Was it not? But was it not to do with cramping? Was he not? That's what
cramping,
I heard.
Yeah,
okay.
Cramping, yeah. But he's trying to explain the cramping by saying, look, it's not because of A, B, and C. It has to be D.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I've heard that
could be nerves, but
I heard that nerves can actually like help bring it on, though. Like it makes it worse.
Oh, definitely. So Carlos is the most well-known example of that, and Carlos readily admitted that's exactly what caused it. He was just too pumped, too hyped up, and too anxious as he was playing Novak in that French Open semi-final, and that made total sense because of the where he was at in his career. He'd already won a slam, but he'd never probably. There was so much build-up and so much attention on that match, possibly more than any he's ever experienced in his career. Even the Wimbledon final he played a couple of weeks later, or a few weeks later.
Oh, another result that I don't know if we talked about it was Lerner Tien coming through in 5 against.
Definitely, we should dwell on that. Yes, a lot of people very pleased with Tien's level. Did you see any of this, by the way?
I saw bits of it, and I saw it when I think I started watching it when Tien was down 2 sets to 1.
2 sets to 1, yeah,
and he's obviously come through well. Yeah, I did think this had potential banana skin, because Marcos Giron is quite good and like definitely going to know about Tien and how to play against him. And yeah, but yeah, and it almost was a big banana skin, but then he comes through strong in the end, and it leaves open the possibility of another Tien Medvedev rematch as well.
Yeah,
they're in the little section.
Both of them won today in very different fashions. Medvedev coming through in straights, but yeah, Tien Medvedev match. I apologize to all their upcoming opponents, but that is something I would love to see, just in terms of how kind of curiously they bring out the best in each other. Tien is going to be playing, by the way, Alexander Shevchenko in the next round. Just give me some thoughts on this upcoming clash.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Shevchenko, by the way, came through today against Yamura in 4 sets.
Yeah.
Yamura just kind of faded away physically, I think, having won the first set. Shevchenko winning that one 3-6, 7-5, 6-4, 6-1.
It's your friend Eliassime, no?
Yeah, yeah, because you remember what he said, or you know where this sort of stems from? He said, he said, you know your tennis.
Yeah, because I remember that you asked him about something in the match, and he appreciated that question.
Exactly what I said, because it was me. So of course I remember. I asked him about the lob against Jan Hoinski, and he was using it very effectively, despite the fact that Hoinski is so tall. And he said, you know your tennis, because that was actually a tactic today. Despite Hoinski, he just felt that despite his height, he's just not necessarily good with overheads, or he's sometimes maybe a bit too close to the net. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be Shevchenko against Lerner Tien. I think, yeah, there's a bit of contrast in styles there, but like I think Tien should be able to get through that one. I think, coming through that first round was good for him.
I don't think he's ever, certainly not at this stage of his career, but maybe never. He's never going to be one that we're going to have to worry about in terms of playing back-to-back matches, 5 sets, or this kind of thing. I think at his age, especially at 20 years old, I don't have any thoughts on him playing 5 sets today and then struggling. And I actually think he'll beat Shevchenko reasonably comfortably, maybe 3 or 4 sets.
Yeah, he's seemingly does have good stamina, doesn't he? And obviously the other, obviously because Felix has gone out, it's Thompson or Nuno Borges. Nuno Borges, decent player, but it's not.
That's a nice third round for Tien if it happens.
Yeah, and also Camo Myshak, he won against Fernley. He's also going to play Marajan, so good win for him actually, because I think Burnley was up a break in that fight, that fourth set.
Oh, okay.
And then he's come back, and because he was like 3-0 or 3-love at one point, and that I think maybe the one break, but then he came back and won it in a tie break. So I mean, I don't think Fernley's in the best form recently, but he goes through and plays Marajan, so who knows, potentially goes through and he'll get a match against Medvedev again.
Yeah, may well do. Yeah, I really would love to see that. I'm just wondering, is there a men's match? I'm just going through them right now, just having a quick glance, and just as long as we've mentioned them at some point. Oh, Hichikata winning in straight sets over Manarino, 3-3-1. That's a disappointing loss for Manarino, albeit he's obviously playing an Aussie in his own backyard. Tien, we just covered. Chapo, we did just briefly touch on him having a win over Boo today, 3-6-1. I think I retweeted you the other day saying how pleased you were to see Boo in a main draw at a slam.
Did I say that?
Oh, I thought it was you. Maybe it was somebody else.
I don't know if it was me. Well, I mean,
it might not have been you. I might have been somebody
else. He's a bit lucky to be in there. Well, not lucky.
He's a wild card, yeah.
Well, because he won. It's like they have the Asia Pacific wild card playoff.
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess it's a bit weird when they do that, because like they have that going on at the same time as challengers. So like it's not as strong as you would maybe think it should be, because some players just choose to play the challengers instead of entering that. But he chose that, and then obviously got the wild card. But he hasn't like played. I don't think he played any like tournaments coming except from like exhibitions. So for Boo, I mean, but I still think it was a good performance from Chapo. He did what he needed to do, and now he's going to play against Cilic next, which is interesting.
I think it's very interesting. Cilic.
I'm not sure.
I'm just going to have a quick look to see if they've played before, because I don't remember off the top of my head, but you'd imagine.
Oh, they definitely have. Surely. I'm just trying to think.
So. Yeah, I'm just trying to think when and where. They've played 5 times before. So it's a 3-2 advantage for Chapo. Right. Obviously very different stages of their career. Cilic is much more towards the end of it, age 37, whereas Chapo should be hitting his peak at 26. But Chapo, being the style of player that he is very much a hit and miss player in every way, shape and form. But they haven't played. So this may be giving me a small excuse for trying not to. I mean, obviously Cilic has had horrendous injury issues over the last couple of years, but they haven't played since 2021. That was on the on the grass of Stuttgart. They played in Cincinnati, Marseille, Indian Wells, and Basel. So it's the first slam meeting, and they've had 4 hard court matches, albeit 2 indoor, 2 out, and it's 3-1 Chapo on the hard. The grass went the way of Cilic, which is actually quite impressive, bearing in mind 2021 is the year that Chapo, I think, got to the semis at Wimbledon. So, I'm going to go Chapo. And I'm going to go Chapo in 4 sets. But this is somebody who hasn't watched Cilic play much in the last couple of months. I was watching him at a challenger last year in Madrid very closely when he made the final there. He was trying to get into the top 100 to avoid having to qualify for the French Open, but didn't quite make it. And that was kind of a shootout he had that day with Kamil Myshak in the final. And I think Myshak won that and got that top 100 ranking for the French Open. But Cilic obviously rolled back the years today with a straight sets win over Altmaier. Chapo, though, had an equally impressive win. So, and I think Chapo is, again, he's one of these players that I think is kind of at his, I don't ever see him being top 5. I probably don't see him winning a slam, but I do see him having just random, very, very good weeks and good fortnights. And yeah, I think that's what he'll always be, that sort of player. And I don't really see, I think we'd see the consistent version of Shapo by now if there was ever going to be one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And this match against Cilic, I mean, honestly, could see it going either way, but depends, you know, because Cilic, he's old, but he's still capable of playing really well, obviously. And, you know, multiple slam finals he's reached, don't forget. And yeah, he's got...
Are you tipping Cilic to win?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I think it could go 5, but like,
oh
yeah, have a potential to go 5 sets. I think that one, but let's see how it goes. And I just remembered, like, another thing is obviously Ruud won.
Yeah, straight sets.
They're in the same section, but he's apparently, his wife is about to have a baby.
Yeah.
So there was some suggestion that he might like
fly back,
but
yeah,
I don't know how immediate that is, but
well, he might have to race through his matches then, you know. At least if he's going to fly back, he'd like to fly back on the back of a nice straight sets win. Then he got the job done quickly. But yeah, the problem is if you go into labor or something, then, you know, 24 hours it's a long time. I think there is a couple of more points I want to address. Davidovich Fokina coming through today. In straight sets over Cilic, setting up an intriguing second round, and one I think he'll come through against Riley Opelka.
Oh, Opelka. Yeah, I think at this point in their careers, I would fancy Davidovich to come through against Opelka. Yeah, I'd be surprised if Opelka won that, but I just think
I'm actually almost surprised that Opelka won his Gaya of Norway is a player at a very different stage of his career, obviously at the beginning of his career, but it's 4-3 and 4, but maybe that was just a nice one, and maybe Gaya's better on other conditions than the hard courts in Australia. But yeah, I've watched Opelka a few times in the last 6 months, and let's say he's failed to convince in terms of where I know he was at, say, 5 years ago. But yeah, so and there's a 1-0 head-to-head favouring Davidovich Fokina. I saw a very funny tweet regarding Davidovich Fokina today, which was words to this effect: he's only 6 wins away from his first ever title. Bearing in mind, again, he went very close, didn't he? Last week, I think it was in Adelaide, was it, where he made the semis? I think it was the Adelaide semis, the one where I think Baez made the final and lost to the guy who beat. Did he lose to Davidovich Fokina last week in the semis? He lost to it was Adelaide, and he lost to Humbert in the semis. So I've got my tournaments muddled up because Humbert, then did he lose in the final, Humbert? Maybe. Of Adelaide, I think he did lose in the final, didn't he? To Mahatch. Yeah, he did to Mahatch, exactly. So yeah, I thought it was a very funny tweet. But any just quick thoughts on Davidovich Fokina before we move on?
Well, I think he should get through, and actually, maybe I would, if he does get through, he's potentially playing Tommy Ball. But even in that matchup,
that's a very winnable one for Davidovich Fokina. The problem for him, I think, is certainly until he gets that first title, is going to be a mental issue, but it shouldn't be a mental issue in the first couple of rounds, at least. But yeah, what an amazing story that would be to win your first and maybe only title. Who sort of falls into that category of only titles at slams? I mean, obviously Emma Raducanu, Naomi Osaka. How many titles has she won in her career?
I mean, she's only won like, I want to say, is it 6?
Could be.
No, 7?
Yeah, not
but
many.
4 of them are always slams, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm just going to have a quick look. Career titles. Yeah, 7. You're absolutely right. Nice one. But yeah, 4 of those 7 have been Grand Slams, which is wild. There's the other funny stat regarding titles, of course, which is Daniel Medvedev having won a title in every different city. So he's never He's never won 2 titles in any one tournament, and even sort of said, I think he tweeted the day after he won Brisbane, because it's another one to add to his. He said, "You're gonna have to start adding cities to your tour ATP, so I can keep going with winning a new one in a different city." All right, I'm gonna finish by just having a look at one more match on Wednesday. What match would you most like to talk about? Have you got Wednesdays? Because I've got it here in front of me, actually. Australian on the men's side. Is there a match? So one match you just have a minute on. I tell you what, there is one match I'd like to have a minute on, which is Jaime Faria against Andrei Rublev, second round. I'll say what I think, which is, I think this could go the distance. And I think the conditions, hard court, slightly quicker, I think is probably the ideal conditions for Jaime's game, which, by the way, I think he's going to have pretty good results. This is not me predicting top 10, top 20 for Jaime necessarily, but I think he's going to have pretty good results on all 3 surfaces. I think he's the kind of guy we're going to reflect on his career, and it's going to be on Wikipedia, and we're going to see quarterfinals, best runs, quarterfinals at the French, 4th round Wimbledon, 4th round Australia, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, obviously he's carrying confidence, I think, coming through qualifying and a good win against Blocks in the first round.
Did well here last year as well. Won his first Grand Slam match and then backed it up by winning a set against Novak.
Yeah, he's and still young. Has he played against Rublev before? This would be his first meeting.
I'm going to check, but I'm almost certainly haven't. By the way, I text over Christmas, and I'd had a few drinks, but I sent him a DM on. I think it was. I'm not sure if it's a DM. Instagram confuses me sometimes, because you think you're commenting on a post, and it's on a story, for example, and then suddenly you realize that comment is going into their DMs as well. But fortunately, he responded. So I think I saw a clip that Jaime had posted over Christmas on Instagram, and it was like it was just some points or a point from his match with Novak, and I said, "Your backhand down the line that day was amazing, sensational," one of those superlatives. And he just said, so he did respond. It was something like, "Yeah, LOL," or something. It was something like that, and I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, "Yeah, man," or something like that, because his backhand down the line, which I think is a strength of his, by the way, but it was particularly strong. I remember in that match against Djokovic a year ago.
So you think it's going to go 5 against?
I think he'll get a set. Yeah, they haven't played before. I think he'll get a set. I think with his serve and where Rublev is at now compared to, say, a couple of years ago, and I just think that Jaime in Australia is a thing. It might end up being his slam where he has his best results. Now, as I said, I'm not predicting amazing thing for Jaime's career, not yet anyway. But I can see. He's currently ranked 151, but he got injured around the beginning of the clay season, or maybe even before that last year. I think he skipped the Sunshine Double, and he'd just broken through into the top 100, was pushing his body a bit to get that, I think, and did so in Rio last year when he had run the quarters. And then he sort of rushed it back a bit as well. He came back a bit early because he wanted to play Estoril, albeit a challenger, and he admitted in his first round loss there that he's not really ready to play this tournament, but he wanted to play, obviously, and he's obviously wants to play at home in the biggest tournament in Portugal. But yeah, and I think Rublev's winning. I think he's winning this, and I think going 5 is not really a problem for Andre. But he might have to. I think he's losing a set anyway.
Yeah, I could see him losing a set, but I don't know. I think he's been okay recently, Rublev.
He has
so far. But yeah, definitely could throw in a set that at least that he loses. But I kind of expect him to get through maybe in 3 or 4. But
you're a little bit bigger on Andre. Yeah, I get that. Maybe I've got some bias in there from the friend of the show status. But all right, listen, Eddie, this has been epic. It's been a good day of tennis, if not one necessarily full of too many shocks, storylines, and surprises. But I think probably the biggest storyline would be probably the crowd actually is even bigger than her exit at the Eala match. But I just want to say a big thanks for joining me today, Eddie.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Make sure you give Eddie a follow on all the socials, but also subscribe to his YouTube channel. Or it's shared. Actually, it's yours, and you're going to tell me your partner's name.
Oh, Alistair.
Yeah,
I mean, he does the podcast with me. Yeah.
I mean, your faces are there. I know you're sort of doing a lot of the on the ground stuff, but you're the faces of Tennis Asia TV at least.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Eddie. And to everybody else, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.